Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda and I am here with a couple things. Not really a tag, even though it's Tag Tuesday, but kind of, sort of, maybe, I don't know. So let's start with this. I am doing my 10 before the end. So this is not a tag, but this is something that Brett at Brett's Book Stacks does. And he asked if you do it yourself to tag him. So I'm tagging Brett in this so he can see my 10 before the end. And if you would like to do it, please tag Brett so he can see that as well. So it's not really a tag, but there you go. You can do this too. So what I have here, this is part one of the video, are 10 books that I want to get to before the end of the year. Now, this is not a self-destruct list. If I don't get to a book on here, it's not going away. I'm just trying to get to these books by the end of the year. I also started with a slightly different list, and then I kind of worried, like, how am I going to fit this in with like the buddy reads that I have scheduled? And then I decided to make it a little easier on myself, and I will tell you why. Because the first two books on here, I am definitely going to read this month because they are scheduled for buddy reads. But I do have 10. These are also all my print books because I'm really trying to get my print collection down, but here we go. Also, The Simpsons are going on in the background. Sorry. The first book, Hill Women, Finding Family and a Way Forward in the Appalachian Mountains by Cassie Chambers. I am doing this as a buddy read with Kim at Kim's Book Life. We're going to start in about a week. This book you have seen on my channel so many times because it comes on, it goes off, blah, blah, blah. And finally, thank you, Kim. We're going to do it. This book is going to get read. And this isn't sort of my thing to look for a better view of the Appalachia region than one that is currently being promoted in our country by someone who lies a lot. So there. The second one is also a buddy read that I'm doing this month, and I'm doing this with Maria Andrea at Books and Bocadillos. And this is The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Genevieve Gornichek. So I read Gornichek's first book, The Witch's Heart, and loved it. And I pre-ordered this, got it the day it came out, haven't read it yet. So Maria Andrea, thank you. We are getting this one done. So number 1 and 2 are definitely getting read this month. So those will definitely be off. Now the next one is one that I had pulled for both Nonfiction November and Historathon 2024. And I am filming this on Sunday, the 6th of October, which is my son's birthday. That has nothing to do with anything, just sharing. But this morning, Olive at A Book Olive came out with her Nonfiction November announcement and her words. And this one meets at least 2 of the words, so I haven't decided how it's all going to figure out yet. But this is a Nonfiction November / Historathon book, and this is The Demon of Unrest by Erik Larson. I have read Devil in the White City and really enjoyed it. I have 2 of his other books on various e-readers, which I still need to get to, but this one is going to happen in November, and this is about, the subtitle on it is The Saga of Hubris, Heartbreak, and Heroism at the Dawn of the Civil War. So this is like leading right up to Fort Sumter. So, you know, it would work for SHOT, the first shot of the Civil War. I have high hopes for this one because I do really like Erik Larson. So that one's happening in November. Now the rest of these, except for the last one, which will make sense, these aren't really in any order, but let's get going. And most of these are books that some of them are brand new books to me that I want to read. I don't want them to end up with the fate of like The Witch's Heart or The Weaver and the Witch Queen, where they just sit on my shelves and I want to read them. But some of them are a little bit older. So the first one is, this is for the challenge that I'm doing for, I have on Storygraph, which I am going to do this again in 2025. I'm going to make it 24 prompts instead of 50. And there'll be some different prompts, but one of the prompts is to read a book that's set in an area that's currently in conflict. And I have actually another book that would also meet that one, but I'm doing this one specifically for that. And this is a memoir. It's called The Rooster House, My Ukrainian Family Story by Victoria Bellum. And this is a memoir, exactly what it says it is. It's about a family in Ukraine. And again, I got this book, pre-ordered it, and it came and it's been sitting on my shelf. And hopefully, I might see if I can kind of figure this out, how to get it to work for Nonfiction November, see if I can get it to work for one of the codes. I haven't thought about it more than the sentence that just came out of my mouth, so we'll see. But this is a memoir that I want to read. Next one, I'll actually go to this one next, because this one would also work for that prompt. Enter Ghost by Isabella Hamad. I know a lot of you have been reading it because it was longlisted, shortlisted for the Women's Prize. I think it made it to the final round of the BookTube Prize. I've really been wanting to read this. This also has a Shakespeare tie-in too. So again, I bought it. It's been sitting there. I need the chance to get to it. I just need to prioritize it, which is what this exercise is. The next is, if you've seen my earlier video, one of my earlier videos, why did I say this in an earlier video? Anyway, oh, it was a book called Revisit, which you may not have seen yet. So never mind, you didn't see this. This is a book that I have been wanting to read because everyone tells me how wonderful it is. And it sounds exactly like the book that I have wanted to read. Now, in my own defense, this has not been sitting on my shelf this long. Only about a year. I know this because I did it in my October book call Revisit. But I have been wanting to read it longer than that. And that is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. A lot of people have said how wonderful this book is, and I am really looking forward to it. So, and it's not super long. I mean, compared to Demon of Unrest, it's not long. So we'll try to get this one in. By the way, if anyone wants to do buddy reads on any of these, let me know, and we'll work something out. So, because that apparently buddy reads are the way to get me to read the books. So the next ones are ones that are in a series or they're brand new that I want to get to. So this one I have shown before. It's The Examiner by Janice Hallett. I love Janice Hallett. Yes, this looks like a big book, but her books are super fast to read because they're multimedia. But this is, it's not in a series, so it's not tied to any of her earlier books, but it's in the same vein where it's a lot of like texts and trying to solve a mystery from kind of the outside. I've not had a problem. All of her books have been hits with me. So this would probably be a really good like palette cleanser book. After I read maybe some harder stuff, I might throw this one in because it is, despite its size, going to be a quick read and it will be delightful. And speaking of delightful, I have the third book in the Marlowe Murder Club, which is The Queen of Poisons by Robert Thorogood. So there's kind of a little rivalry between the Thursday Murder Club and the Marlowe Murder Club. The Thursday Murder Club is better known. I would give the edge to the Marlowe Murder Club a little bit, but yes, so I just need to read the third one. It's been sitting on my shelves, like I got it and I wanted to read it right when I got it, but I was in the middle of other things. And that's why books end up sitting on my shelf, which is why I need to prioritize them. So there you go. And then the next one you had seen in my September haul. So it is a brand new book, and it is When We Flew Away by Alice Hoffman. This is the penultimate book in the stack, but hang with me. This is a story of Anne Frank before they went into the attic. So it's before they went into hiding. This is the second book in a row that Alice Hoffman has done a novel about a real person. So her previous to this book was The Invisible Hour, which featured Nathaniel Hawthorne. I'm interested to see how she does this. She has had at least one other World War II-ish book. This one's obviously before World War II. It's the lead up to World War II. And that one was The World That We Knew, which I loved. So I'll be interested to see how she treats it in this one. That one was actually during World War II. This is, before, so we'll see how those compare. Now, my last book, which leads into the second part of this video, is one that just got into my hot little hands this week, and I'm so looking forward to it. The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich, Who Can Do No Wrong. Now, this is her brand new book, and yes, it's autographed, because I always order her books from Birchbark, and then they either come autographed or with autographed plates that you can put in. That's why I always use her bookstore for that. Now, I said that in November, I'm going to do a Louise Erdrich readathon, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. But I said in that, I'm not going to include this because I'm going to read it right away, but I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to read it right away. So I am going to include this in one of the options for the November Louise Erdrich readathon. I'm going to put up, there should be, as of now, a poll on my community page where you can vote for which one you would like. I'm only leaving that poll open until this coming Friday. Actually until probably Thursday on midnight, which isn't very long, I know. But the reason why is because I want to reveal what book we're reading in my weekend wrap up. And that way, if it is a book that people, because it's going to be really hard at this point to get this from the library. Not only is it a new book from a very well-established author, but it's a read with Jenna pick, as you can tell. So it's going to be really hard to get from the library in time. So if people choose this, just know you're probably going to have to purchase the book. But I am going to, after all, include this as one of the options in that. Now, that's my 10 before 10. Let's stick with Louise Erdrich, and let's talk about what the options for the Louise Erdrich read along in November are. So basically what I did was I pulled the Louise Erdrich books that I have on my TBR bookshelf. That's all. So these are in reverse alphabetical order because I just pulled the chunk off my shelf, and that's the way the stack is. The first is The Plague of Doves. Let me actually go back to this one, and I'll read a little bit from the synopsis, just so you kind of know what they are. So we're back to the Mighty Red here. But in the Red River Valley of North Dakota, several lives revolve around a wedding fraught with desire, jealousy, and uncertainty. Gary Geist, a terrified young man set to inherit 2 farms, is desperate to marry Kismet Poe, an impulsive lapsed goth who can't read her own future but will settle for fulfilling his. His best friend Hugo, a gentle red-haired homeschool giant, also loves Kismet and is determined to steal her away and build a life together. Kismet's mother, Crystal, drives a truck for Gary's family, and on her nightly runs, tunes into the darkness of late-night radio, experiences visions of guardian angels, and worries about what's to come for her daughter and herself. So that is the Mighty Red. The Plague of Doves. Okay, sorry about that. I just realized there's no synopsis on the back of this, so I had to look it up on Goodreads. And then the first couple copies I picked up didn't have a synopsis, but I have it now. So let me read a little bit of what the Plague of Doves is about. The unsolved murder of a farm family still haunts the white small town of Pluto, North Dakota, generations after the vengeance exacted and the distortions of fact transformed the lives of Ojibwe living on the nearby reservation. Part Ojibwe, part white, Evelina Harp is an ambitious young girl prone to falling hopelessly in love. Musham, Evelina's grandfather, is a repository of family and tribal history with an all-too intimate knowledge of the violent past. And Judge Anton Basil Coots, who bears witness, understands the weight of historical injustice better than anyone. Through the distinct and winning voices of 3 unforgettable narrators, the collective stories of 2 interwoven communities ultimately come together to reveal a final wrenching truth. So that is The Plague of Doves. Okay, sorry about that. They don't like putting synopses on the back of these paperbacks. So I have to look at Goodreads. Now, this one is Love Medicine. This is an earlier book of hers, and it's actually a first in a series of 3 books. However, I believe these books can all be read independently. They're pretty much standalone. Also, some of the chapters in these books were previously published as short stories, which I've probably read them in my short story collection, but who knows. But here's Love Medicine. Set on and around a North Dakota reservation, Love Medicine tells the story of the Lamartines and the Cashpaws, 2 extraordinary families whose fates are united and sustained in a harsh world by the strength and diversity of their love. We meet the sensual Lulu Lamartine, whose children have different fathers, but whose passionate tie to her first love, Nectar Cashpaw, intensifies over the years. June Cashpaw, who froze to death in a snowstorm, and the philosophical Lipsha Morrissey, Joan's abandoned son, who makes love medicine to keep his grandparents together. So that's Love Medicine. So then, the second book in this, the second one, I do. I have the second one, not here. It's right here. Pull it up. So I have in this pile, I have in this series, actually it's a series of 8 books. I was wrong. There's more than 3. This is the second book in that series. Again, I believe all these books can be read independently, so don't put too much stock in it being the second or whatever of a series. So this is The Beet Queen. On a spring morning in 1932, young Carl and Mary Adair arrived by boxcar in Argus, North Dakota. Side note, I don't know if this is continued part of it, but this also takes place in Argus, North Dakota. Back we go. It is not apparently considered to be part of this series. Let me go back to The Beet Queen. On a spring morning in 1932, young Carl and Mary Adair arrived by boxcar in Argus, North Dakota. After being orphaned in a most peculiar way, they seek refuge in the butcher shop of their aunt and her husband. So begins an exhilarating 40-year saga brimming with colorful, unforgettable characters. Ordinary Mary, who will cause a miracle, seductive Carl, who lacks his sister's gift for survival, Sita, their lovely but disturbed cousin, and the half-Native American Celestine James, who will become Mary's best friend. Theirs is a story grounded in the tenacity of relationships, the extraordinary magic of natural events, and the unending mystery of the human condition. So this is book 2. Now, reading that, I realized that I may have read a good chunk of this because that description describes a lot of stories that were in the red convertible. So I believe this is going to read like, I could be wrong, but I just kind of think this might read like interconnected short stories. But this is number 2 in the series. Okay, number 3 is Tracks, which is not there. And number 4 I do have, which is the Bingo Palace. The Bingo Palace. So this one, at a crossroads in his life, Lipsha Morrissey is summoned by his grandmother to return to the reservation. There he falls in love for the very first time with the beautiful Shawnee Ray, who's already considering a marriage proposal from Lipsha's wealthy entrepreneurial boss, Lyman Lamartine. But when all efforts to win Shawnee's affections go hopelessly awry, Lipsha seeks out his great-grandmother for a magical solution to his romantic dilemma on sacred ground where a federally sanctioned bingo palace is slated for construction. So that is 4th in the series. Again, I believe you can read them all independently. So now I have LaRose. And this one does actually have a synopsis on the back. North Dakota, late summer 1999. Landro Iron stalks a deer along the edge of the property bordering his own. He shoots with easy confidence, but when the buck springs away, Landro understands he's hit something else. When he staggers closer, he sees he has killed his neighbor's 5-year-old son, Dusty Ravitch. Okay, so there's a trigger right there. It's right there. Child death. The youngest child of his best friend, Pete Ravitch, Dusty was best friends with Landro's 5-year-old son, LaRose. Horrified at what he's done, the recovered alcoholic turns to tradition, the sweat lodge, for guidance, and finds a way forward. Following an ancient means of retribution, he and Emmeline will give LaRose to the grieving Peter and Nola. LaRose is quickly absorbed into his new family. Plagued by thoughts of suicide, Nola dotes on him, keeping her darkness at bay. Gradually, he is allowed shared visits with his birth family, whose sorrow mirrors the Ravitch's own. As the years pass, LaRose becomes the linchpin linking the Irons and the Ravitches, and eventually their mutual pain begins to heal. So that's LaRose. And then the last one I have here also sort of has this is a memoir. I should tell you this. This is a memoir. This is not a novel. And this is The Blue Jays Dance. This is Louise Erdrich's first major work of nonfiction. Brilliantly and poignantly examines the joys and frustrations, the compromises and insights, and the difficult struggles and profound emotional satisfactions the acclaimed author experienced in the course of one 12-month period, from a winter pregnancy through a spring and summer of new motherhood to a return to writing in the fall. In exquisitely lyrical prose, Erdrich illuminates afresh the large and small events that every parent will recognize and appreciate. So those are the books that are up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully. I think, so here's the deal. I think I might only be able to do 6 options on my community page. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a post on the community page, and I'm going to direct you back to this video, and I'm going to have you vote in the comments. There you go. That's what we're going to do, because I think I can only do 6 options on a thing, and I have, of course, 7 books. So yes, so on this post, if you want to participate in doing a read-along, in November of Louise Erdrich, please just tell me which one of these books you're most interested in. No later than, well, look, you've got 3 days, because I film on Friday, my wrap up, so I kind of need to know by Friday morning. So I would say by midnight on Thursday. Which of these you'd like, and winner takes all, and if there's a tie, I'll break it. And if not, I will just make a decision. I don't know, it will all work out. And we will do this on Voxer, so there will be a Voxer group for it. So there. Thank you very much for hanging in with me for this double duty. Again, if you decide to do a 10 before the end, be sure to tag Brett at Brett's Book Stacks, because this is his baby. And then if you want to participate in a Louise Erdrich read along in November, let me know which of those books you're most interested in, and I'll let you know which one we're doing on my weekend wrap up. Okay, and also keep in mind that the Mighty Red, if you choose the Mighty Red, you will most likely have to purchase a copy. Just because that's the way the world goes. Anyway, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.